that's it. I've had enough. I want a pie. Do you want a pie? Let's go and get a pie. This video will be a bit different to my others because there'll be no scrapping in it. It's just about food. Oi oi, this is my recipe for chicken, leek and bacon pie. Right, hands washed. Oven on 160. I'm not sure what the gas mark for that is. I haven't used a gas oven in a while. Starting with the leeks. I'm going to trim the very bottom off where the roots would go on, and the top where it sort of opened up a little bit. I normally use whatever comes in a packet from Aldi leek wise. So when the leeks are big, they're 3 leeks. Here they're quite small leeks, so there's 6 in there. So I'm going to do the lot. Just trimming the top parts off where you can see, when you look at the leek, you can see where it opens up at the top, and as I say, the bit at the bottom, prep them all up like that. Chopping them up, I'd say pound coin thickness or thinner than that. Cut them in nice slices. You want them to mix evenly throughout the pie. I'm going to chop these up in 2 goes because for some reason I picked a little chopping board out instead of a proper one. No, I've got a little breadboard rather than one of my chopping boards. I have no idea why I did that. Right, so the leek's gone to one side. I'm going to chop up a packet of bacon. I've used smoky bacon and regular. I always say that ordinary bacon is, unsmoked bacon is bacon that ain't been finished yet, but I like both really. I'm going to cut this in 3 or 4 long ways and then straight across. Streaky bacon works as well. This is just regular smoked back bacon. I've used lardons. I think maybe I didn't use enough because it wasn't as good. It didn't give the same flavour as cutting up whole rashers like this. But yeah, cut those up in chunks. Don't worry about separating them out now, but get them all chopped up. On the chicken, I've already got about half a chicken breast cut up. If you can use cooked chicken or raw chicken for this, I'm cutting this up in chunks. Cutting this breast up in chunks. I've already got some in a bowl, and yeah, I've also got some chicken left over from the Sunday roast. If you're doing it with the Sunday roast, obviously you put the chicken in a bit later. If you've got raw chicken, you need to cook it. Make sure it's cooked very properly. Rinse your leek, chuck them in a colander, get plenty of water run through them, check there's no grit in them. I mean, we shouldn't do because we cut the ends off, but any veg like that, you want to give it a rinse out before you eat it. Give them a good strain off, you don't want too much water going back in the pie mix. I'll stick a decent drop of oil in the pan, warm it up a bit, swirl it around and cover the bottom of the pan and let the temperature get up. Well, you want this quite high because you want to fry the bacon and get it frazzled. Alright, get the bacon in the pan. You don't want to stir it and stir it a bit lively if you don't want it to stick. You'll see the little bit of my pan is this pan, the non-stick, and all it's pretty much done, so I'm getting the pan. You will see it sticking a bit even with the oil in there. Yeah, high heat, a lot of sizzling, so keep working around the pan, working around the pan. Right, the leek's in go in a second. There's no need to worry about it sticking too much now because you can see there's plenty of water come out of the bacon. So it's, the leeks are going to be more steamed than fried at this point. You can cook more of the water off before you put them in if you want to fry it, if you want the pie to have a sort of darker, richer sort of thing going on. To be honest, it changes every time I do it. It's always good, but you know, sometimes I cook the filling more than others. Yeah, give that a good stir, give it a good cook round and then stick a lid on it. It's been cooking for a couple of minutes. I'm going to take the lid off, give it a little stir about, then I'm going to put the raw chicken in. When I'm cooking a meat that's going to be in a sauce, I don't cook it through 100% and then put the sauce on it. I'm going to get it part way there, it's going to be a bit pink in the middle, and then the sauce is going to go on. So as it cooks in the sauce, it's going to take that flavour up. A quick mention on seasoning, I'm going to crack a load of black pepper into this in a second. I'm not going to be putting any salt in it. Now, with bacon, a whole packet of bacon, it doesn't really need any seasoning. Maybe your taste is different, but it really is salty enough. Just a good belt of black pepper in it. Right, the raw chicken did a little cook through. Now I'm going to put the cooked chicken left over from the Sunday roast. The stuff from the Sunday roast is good because meat on the bone, it's always got more flavour than chicken breast. So I quite like doing the whole thing with leftover chicken, but there wasn't enough left over this week. Right, she's been cooking for another 2-3 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. I'm going to give it another stir about, and then I'm going to put the cheat ingredient, which is the thing that makes this pie so easy. Because all we're doing really at this point is chopping a few bits up and throwing it in the frying pan. The thing that makes it that I'm going to use as sauce is a bit of a cheat ingredient. There we go. Cream of chicken soup. This is a particularly cheap can, I think it's about 24p. So I'll chuck that in, stir it all through. You don't need to cook it too much longer. You don't want to lose, I don't want the heat to be too high at this point because you cook all the moisture out of the out of the soup. We don't want that. We want it to thicken up, but we don't want it to be to dry out. So I'm going to give that a stir through, and then in a second I'm going to put it on the lower heat. Alright, it's going to go to the low heat and then cook for another couple of minutes. Give it a stir, make sure nothing sticks. It'll be fine. Right, 250 grams of ordinary plain flour. This is like cheap old Aldi stuff. Whack it through a sieve so it's not lumpy. That's the best way. Right, 110 grams of butter or spread or margarine or whatever. I'm using cheap spread. To show you that I'm a scrapper, you can see mend and make do. My silicone spatula broke, so I shoved the dinner knife at the other end of it. Yeah, this is cheap spread, and you can do the old way of Mary burying it about with your hands and combining the fat and the flour, but I just use a silicone spatula, keep boshing it about like that. You want to keep mixing it around until it looks, you can see, they say it looks like breadcrumbs basically. You'll see in a second. I'll hold the bowl up, and the magic of YouTube, you'll see that it is, there we go, like breadcrumbs. Then we're going to add a drop of water to it. Who knows how much, you just sort of do it by eye as you go. Mix it in, keep adding it if it's a little bit dry. Add it slowly because you can't take it out when it's in there, until it looks like pastry. I'm getting the same cheap and nasty Aldi, it's not nasty, it's fine, but it's cheap Aldi spread on a pastry brush, and then brushing it around the inside of the thing I'm going to cook the pie in. You don't want to stick. To tell you the truth, I'll probably put a bit too much fat on this, but it turns out fine, it's okay. Put a load of flour down. My skills of pastry are, pretty much zero, so I put a load of flour down. If not, everything sticks to everything. I start swearing at it. My blood pressure rises. Now get that pastry, cut it not quite in half, about 55% one way, and the bigger bit is for the bottom. We've got to line the dish. And stick one half over there. Again, it's not half. Roll it out. Make sure you've got plenty of flour down, because everything sticks with pastry. Maybe it's just me. My pastry work is a bit how's your father, you can see. Right, I'm getting it all rolled out, and then I'm gonna get it to, no matter how, I always get it the wrong size and do this. It's, as I say, it's always a bit how's your father, but we get it out to a reasonable thickness, hopefully big enough to do the dish. I'll undoubtedly have to tear a bit off and fill a hole somewhere. Pick it out on the rolling pin, get the dish back down, and then lay it over the top. Don't put the rolling pin on top of the dish, because you'll cut straight through the pastry and you have to start again. Then I'm just gonna ease it in at the edges, go around, and then I'll find the bit that I've cocked up. You can see there on the side I've got a bit. I'm going to have to tear a bit off one end. There's always a bit overlapping, but who doesn't like a nice thick crust on a pie? Another thing, if it ain't got a bottom in it, it's not a pie, mate. I hate that when you go to a place and buy a pie and you come and it's a bit of pastry on the top or something. There we go. Put a bit of water on that, stuck it on the edge to fill the bit where I got it wrong. Right, get the pie filling in there. Normally I'd let it cool down a bit before it went in there, but I was in a rush, so straight in there it goes. Get the filling in there, get it kind of levelled out, and then we're ready to do the top. Alright, same routine for the top. I'm always going to balls it up a bit, so I'll just have to sort it out as I go along. I always make the top too thin as well. I lay it straight over. There we go. And then none of this jammy Oliver shit. No fork down the side of it. I'll just like fold it in, give it a squish up. It looks like a bit of old rope around the inside by the end. But yeah, it's going to have a nice thick crust on it. And the flavour from the pie and the soup and the bacon and everything else is all going to soak into the pastry, and you have a nice crispy bit on the edge. It's going to be banging. Right, ready to wield the pastry brush again. Beat an egg up and brush the egg on, give it a good glaze on top. I always make the top a little bit too thin, so I have to be careful that I don't go through the top of the pie. You have to be a bit gentle. After this, it's going in the oven, which has been on at 160, so it's ready to go. I'd say it's about 25 to 35 minutes, something like that. You have to bear in mind the filling's all cooked, so that, you know, it's just cooking the pastry with the filling in it. I find that when I've got a pan of potatoes on for mash, the pie takes pretty much as long as the potatoes take to get to mashing point. So it's not scientific, but it works. I'll level with you, it's not the prettiest pie I've ever made, and it has sprung a leak on top, but it's still going to be tasty. Yeah, we're going to dish it out, and then my good lady wife here, who's back from a long day of teaching, is going to put gravy on it. I personally don't think it needs gravy, especially not that instant crap, but she's milking it, isn't she? She's taking forever to do this. So I asked her to put a bit of gravy on it, and she's like, she thinks she's doing an advert. I've worked it out, and that pie cost £3.74 for the whole thing, which is, if you cut into six portions, 62p a portion. And it'll be enough energy to keep scrapping all day.